All right, welcome to Yeti Snow MX. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Kevin.
And today we're going to talk about the evolution of the rear suspension, the Nextech Reactor rear suspension. So why don't we talk about our friends over at Nextech?
Yeah, sure. So Nextech, they're from Edmonton, Alberta, and they've been producing carbon fiber, a mono-style suspension for many years now.
Yeah.
It's great, works really well, works good on high horsepower sleds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Lightweight, carbon fiber, lots of composites in it.
Carbon fiber wheels they make.
Yeah. Everything.
All titanium bolt. It's a pretty high-end, pretty exotic, but works awesome rear suspension. Yeah.
So we contacted them because we'd started out in our prototypes and our Gen 1 and 2 using their suspension in that.
Correct.
And we said, we need something that's going to work specifically for us, give us good performance in travel, lightweight, and simple, something that worked well. And this is what they came out with, their reactor suspension.
Yep. And it was an evolution of theirs. They'd taken some ideas they'd had for years and came up with this. We're really excited about it to show you today. So it's so here it is. So we're going to walk through a few steps of it, some of the learnings we've had over the last 2 years. And why don't you start with the rails?
Sure. As you can see now, we're using aluminum rails, but we started out prototyping and we've ran many different versions of a composite rail. So this is a type of nylon composite with different levels of glass and carbon fibers in them. And we went through 4 different evolutions and we're still testing. We got a latest one that we're testing, but we've had a couple failures with it in extreme conditions, either really big hits or big drops.
Big drops on the hard-packed, hard ground.
Yeah, so we just decided our Yeti product has to be very durable. It needs to get you in and out of the backcountry at all times. And so we decided we need to go with aluminum rails to make that happen. So we got in contact with Ice Age, and they're providing all our rails for this year. And we tested them for the last half of last year. They're bulletproof, and we've had no issues with them at all. So that's what your Yeti will come with this year.
Correct.
On our Nextech suspension.
Awesome, on the reactor, on the Nextech Reactor. So one thing, again, standard equipment on the Yeti, titanium bolts in the reactor suspension, the upper shaft, the lower shafts for the shock shafts, the rear axle, 70-75 aerospace grade, obviously, aluminum. The front A-arm is titanium welded. So we've been really happy with all the weight savings on this. And standard equipment, Fox Float 3 shocks on the front, Fox Float 3 evols on the rear. So, we've had a lot of time testing, and we'll have another video basically how to set up your rear suspension, those kind of things. And why don't you talk about the reactor arm, how this works?
Yeah, so basically it's a pretty simple design, but no one's really used it before. And so the reactor arm, which is this product here, it's a composite arm. It's made out of a nylon. We have a slot here which allows transfer, and we have different bushings that we'll show you later in our complete setup video. But as this moves down, this allows it to actually change a little bit and transfer when it's in there. So we can put different blocks in here, which give you either more or less transfer, and they just take a couple of minutes to change, and you can have something that wheelies a little bit more and a little bit more sporty feeling, or if you don't like that, you can hold the front end down more. So.
Yeah, and it's very effective, works very well, yeah. So Ice Age, again, making our rails for this year. We're going to keep testing composites and carbons and different things as we go forward, because a lot of guys ask us, well, I've seen your kit with the black rails, now it's got the silver rails, why all these changes? So that's the straight goods on that. Exactly. So we'll keep evolving, keep pushing the product forward. And at this point, we're offering the 4 different track lengths with the 4 different rear suspensions. So one thing we should also mention is that we didn't just extend talk about the design of each rail and that.
Yeah, so what we found is we didn't go right from a 120 suspension, and then we just kept extending the rail out to go up to our 146. We determined that we could extend it a little bit, but only the 4.5 inches that we needed to between a 120 and 129, use the same center to center on our top shafts, and then our 137, 146 use a longer extended centers, which it keeps the geometry working correctly how it should, instead of just kind of the simple fix which would just be extending the rails, and then it changes your geometry. So again, another way that we always try to go to the next step and do things correctly, not maybe the most economical way, but the correct way.
And the feedback on the rail and the way it works from the riders we've had this last winter is that the ride, we keep hearing about the ride, the 137, the ride, and one of my favorite experiences from this winter was going to Boulder, riding Revelstoke, and coming down on the 129 model and riding that thing fifth gear from the cabin to the bottom. And I'm like, it's going to kick, or it's going to buck me out, it's going to do something. And I'm talking fifth gear motocross style from the top to the bottom, hard as I could, the whole
through whoops. The trail was
all the
300 sleds over that day and all.
All beat, yeah. So we're definitely going to talk more about the rear suspension, how it feels, how you can ride it up the trail, how you can hold third, fourth, fifth gear wide open through the corners. You don't have to lift. You can ride like a motocross bike. And it's thanks to Kevin and the team's design of just getting the track to work with the suspension and work with the ski. It's a phenomenal experience. So we'll share more about that excitement later. But for now, that's the rear reactor, Next Tech reactor rear suspension. We're excited to share this with you. And we'll see you next time.
See you soon.
Bye for now.